An election year that delivered on its promise of stiff competition, but a political class still playing catch-up on the spirit of the game. Governance, stability and post-election litigation, a seesaw of excitement and dashed hopes. Also on political update today, internal party wranglings and the ripple effect on the composition of the top seats in the land. We have this and more on our lineup. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. This week, the Federal Executive Council approved the 2024 appropriation bill of 27.5 trillion naira to be presented to the National Assembly by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This was part of the decisions taken at the meeting of the Federal Executive Council Monday. We have a report on these and other decisions of the Council.
After trips on bilateral and foreign direct investment drive to Saudi Arabia and Germany, President Bola Tinubu back and chaired his administration's 5th meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Expectedly, several memoranda were waiting for attention. And so, preparation for the 2024 fiscal year toward the implementation of its renewed core policies and programs in priority areas topped the priority list. That necessitated deliberations on the 2024 appropriation bill and a review of a medium-term expenditure framework earlier approved by the National Assembly. And after about 3 hours of deliberations by the council members, the Information Minister, Mohammed Idris, led the relevant ministers to brief the correspondents.
The council has just finished its deliberation.
The first renewed hope budget to be presented by President Bola Tinubu to the National Assembly is worth 27.5 trillion naira based on exchange rate of 750 naira to a dollar and crude oil reference price of $77.96.
Which is an increase of over 1.5 trillion from the previously estimated using the old reference prices. The forecast revenue is now 18.32 trillion, which is higher than the 2023 revenues, including that provided in the 2 supplementary budgets. Equally and commendably, the deficit is lower than that of 2023.
Ministry of Finance secured the approval of the Council for a $100 million financing from the African Development Bank on behalf of Abia State and another $1 billion concessional financing to support the macro economy of the country.
And the President will be presenting the 2024 appropriation bill at the end in front of the joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Assembly tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the election of Ahmed Aliyu as the duly elected governor of Sokoto State. The 3-man panel of justices gave the verdict in a unanimous decision on an appeal by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Saidu Umar challenging the victory of Governor Aliyu in the March 18 poll. The Sokoto State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal on the 30th of September 2023 affirmed the election of Aliyu of the All Progressives Congress as the Sokoto State Governor, having won the March 18 gubernatorial election in the state. The 3-man tribunal, led by Justice Ashela, in its ruling dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Saidu Umar challenging the victory of the governor. The tribunal held that the petitioners failed to prove their case that Aliyu was not qualified to contest the Sokoto State governorship election. INEC had declared Aliyu as winner of the Sokoto governorship election, having polled a total of 455,661 votes, while Umar of the PDP scored 404,682 votes to place second. Moving on now, the police in Kano has restated its commitment to quash all forms of planned protests by some faceless political groups in the state. This was during a news briefing on the security development in the state against the backdrop of the recent appeal court judgment in the state governorship election.
Revealed plans by some faceless political groups in different parts of the state to stage protests capable of disrupting the prevailing peace in the state. It described the move as unfortunate and unacceptable, considering the fact that it is not in the best interests of the people of anyone caught violating the ban on such protests, the police commissioner warned, will face the full wrath of the law.
Is by this presentation, when anyone engaging in activities that are capable of breaching the peace at the peaceful atmosphere that is being enjoyed in the state, going forward, this category of people are required to desist from doing so because the police will not hesitate to arrest them and prosecute them.
He also reminded the political parties to uphold the peace accord signed with the command ahead of the court verdict.
Now to the meat of the matter. The electoral cycle in Nigeria's Fourth Republic is incomplete if post-election litigations are not factored in. This, more often than not, determines who eventually occupies the seat which had been hitherto solicited through the ballot. It is a current reality which many believe is a pointer to the management and general conduct of the stakeholders in an electoral process. Ladikwo Johnson of the New Nigeria People's Party, NMPP, joins us now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in the case of your governor, Abba Yusuf in Kano, he says all should be calm. Surely he's towing the path of peace while other processes continue.
Yes, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is a peaceful man. He believes in the rule of law. He believes in democracy. Indeed, it is widely believed that even in 2019, he won the election. That is when we heard that INEC declared it an inconclusive election, and then later on, all sorts of things happened during the runoff. But even then, when Ganduje somehow secured a second term, Kano was peaceful. Governor Abba Yusuf didn't go to the streets. He didn't let his supporters do anything. So when he says that they should remain peaceful at the moment, we know he means it. And we thank God that it has been peaceful. There have been some people on the streets, but they have been largely peaceful. And we have to balance things and realize that people have the right to, I don't want to use the word protest because that seems, we tend to link it to violence, but people have the right in a democracy to say what they want to say without disturbing other people. And I think the police should take note of that as well, that you can't just stop everyone from going onto the streets. It's politics, and if we have to tell, to make things known in a peaceful manner, then the police should provide the security and the environment to make sure that law and order remains.
Perhaps it will also be incumbent on you to, inform the law enforcement agents that you intend to embark on some of these, movements around the city, so that that would also be monitored. But moving on, have you returned the certified true copies of the judgment to the appeal court?
Definitely not. Unfortunately, this is where we find ourselves. As a member of the legal profession, a lot of senior colleagues have spoken about their disappointment that the judiciary has found itself at such a low ebb in the country, and we pray that things will pick up, things will look up. But back to your question, Chief Olanipekun SAN, who is counsel to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, wrote a letter, a strongly worded letter, to the Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal, and stated that, as far as he's concerned, the Court of Appeal, after 60 days, is functus official. They have no role to play whatsoever. If you've given a certified true copy to the litigants, to both sides, you have given it, it is all over. Now, the Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal said that there was a clerical error. And under any guise, even under the Order 23 or so of the Handbook of the Court of Appeal, that gives the Court of Appeal power to recall mistakes and correct it, even under that, the paragraphs that we have in that CTC, in that judgment, cannot be called clerical errors. Clerical error is you want to write she, you put he, or what have you. It isn't something major, especially the concluding part of a judgment. You understand? It was on page 67. You have page 1 all the way to 67. And on that page, yes, they contradicted themselves. But the concluding part of the judgment said clearly that the judgment of the tribunal below, and it gave the suit number of the tribunal, Kanu, whatever, on the 20th of September 2023, is hereby set aside. And that costs of ₦1 million were awarded against the first respondent, which is the APC. So those things are fundamental, and as such, rightly so, counsel to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, Chief Olanipekun, has stated that he will take it all to the Supreme Court, for the Supreme Court to settle the issues that have arisen from the judgments, both that read on the 17th on Friday and the CTC given, which are at variance with each other.
So in a few words, you are not returning that copy. That's certified.
No, we're not. And that's why I gave you the reason why we were not returning.
Even if it's an appeal from the appeal court. Permit the pun.
No, you can't say it's an appeal. At the same vein, you know, some of them said, the chief registrar, it was a mistake, clerical error. If it is a mistake and you want them to return it, why didn't you say that the mistake by INEC of not stamping or signing purportedly 165,000 votes that the tribunal removed from Abba Kabir Yusuf, why didn't they say that is a mistake? So you see, that is it. It's a court document, it's a certified true copy. And I tell you, it is weightier than whatever was said in court the Friday before. Because when you are appealing, you don't appeal with the recording of what the judge said in court. It is that certified copy that you use, whether it's for land, whether it's a CTC of a CFO, well, whatever it is. But here, it is a CTC of a judgment that was signed by the judges and signed by the by the registrar. And they couldn't have been that, they shouldn't have been that careless.
All right, let's quickly move on to your party and your plans generally. Beyond this, court case, how has it generally been like? You're foreign to, put your credentials out there for Nigerians to choose you. You've been chosen by a state, and several constituencies have also put their trust in you in the National Assembly. How are your representatives performing?
Well, everyone is settling down, but the representatives in Kanu, I think they're beginning to settle down. I think each and every one of them went through the tribunal process. Quite unfortunately, as you said earlier in your introduction, it seems that this electoral cycle, maybe the umpire wasn't able to give us a free and fair process, and so a lot of people who contested from various parties were dissatisfied and had to go to court. But yes, they are settling down, and they will settle down, and they will contribute their quota to governance and bring in good governance to the people. The party itself, once all these things are over, we pray that the Supreme Court rules in our favor. We want to show Nigerians, using the one state that we have the governor, because I believe already the first 100 days it was clear, far and above most other states. Abba Kabir Yusuf had achieved so many things, especially in the line of education and health care. So we, as a party, we want to use these next 4 years to build on what we have achieved, to let Nigerians know that there is a party genuinely for the masses, for the working classes. You know, I know our friends in the PDP our friends in the APC, really there's no difference between them anymore. The APC will tell you that they are progressives, but really there's no difference anymore. But we have a genuine manifesto to bring about things that will ease the plight, the suffering of the people, reduce the cost of living, and raise the standard of living of the average Nigerian.
Some will perhaps disagree with you that you are tangentially different from the other parties, since you had to also do some house cleaning a couple of months ago when you discovered that some state chairmen were also dancing to music outside the market square and receiving some perhaps a motivation as well.
Exactly.
You had some of these guys as well.
You see, what I should say there is that the fact that it became an issue, the fact that we suspended them and then expelled them, shows you that we are different. We were not afraid to say, no, we don't need this sort of sharp practice or whatever in our party. And we did that. But regarding what the party stands for, you'll always have bad eggs or whatever. No place will have 100%. But regarding what the party stands for, or what we are trying to make sure that we stand for, we're trying to make sure that the easiest way to explain it is that each Nigerian, no matter the circumstances of that person's birth, should have access to health, to good governance, to education, etc., etc.
All right, let's move on before we come to the final lap. Nigerians must learn to be constructive in their criticisms of government, agencies and institutions in order to sustain the growth of democracy. Addressing a press conference on the outcome of the just concluded off-season elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states, as well as the recent court judgments on the 2023 general elections, board member of Yaga Africa and chairman in Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, Izenwan Wago, says he's worried that many politicians who lost out in the general elections have deployed attacks on INEC and the judiciary just to score a point. He wants politicians to follow the rules of the game by complying with set rules of engagement and accept defeat when they lose.
Engagement is important. Engagement with institutions with the purpose of ensuring that those institutions are reformed, and it must be a principled engagement. The 2023 election had its challenges, but the positives for those elections outweigh the challenges in every material particular. And therefore, those institutions that are in the business of strengthening our democracy needs to be encouraged by people who mean well for the country.
Concerned People's Democratic Party League, a political group, is tasking the leadership of the PDP to rally around its acting national chairman towards providing a credible opposition. The group, in a solidarity process to the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja, says the party's acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagum, is leading the party well.
Some protesters last week stormed the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party in Abuja, demanding the resignation of the party's National Working Committee. The group, under the aegis of the PDP National Backup, lamented that the party had been reduced to nothing. In a twist, another group under the banner of Concerned PDP League is expressing satisfaction with the PDP National Working Committee, led by Acting National Chairman Umar Damagum, and describing every disagreement within the party as a family affair.
The chairman is doing a lot to ensure that the party is united. If PDP is not united, there is no way we can be in a strong opposition. Yeah.
The group enjoined the judiciary to remain unbiased in its decisions without fear or favor, emphasizing that the unity of the country is paramount. Meanwhile, the factional chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance is asking Nigerians to, against all odds, stand by the institution of the judiciary to save it from those that are committed to compromising justice with the aim to ruin its integrity and sanctity.
A clear judgment of 6th of June, a high court in Abuja here. So it's clear what they've asked. It's been clear that I'm the national chairman of the party, not in any ambiguous term, clearly.
The factional APGA national chairman is urging INEC to respond to the court decision in the leadership crisis rocking the party.
All right, before we go, we still have Ladipo Johnson right here from the NMPP talking about, matters arising, especially from the perspective of the opposition. When we're having a lot of leadership issues as far as opposition is concerned, how do you mount credible opposition and give, the ruling party at least some challenge in terms of policy issues, ideas, if you don't have a cohesive front, especially when we see, other parties, having some of these leadership issues as well?
Yes, it's an unfortunate situation, but I always say it's a Nigerian thing. It happens in other jurisdictions as well. And you're very right. If you're not together, how do you act as an alternative, a credible alternative to the people of the country? But it is work in progress. Usually you have odd bedfellows coming together to work within the same political party. And once you have that, within a short time, you'll have these problems coming up. And then, of course, you have the party in government and the stronger parties who also try to ensure that your party remains weak and that you are not united. And once they have at least one person or two people willing to be bad eggs within the other party, then it becomes difficult.
Before I let you go very quickly, the off-cycle elections, we just ran it off a couple of weeks back now. We didn't see too much of a showing from your party in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. Was that as a result of some lethargy? Perhaps you're still tired from the rigor of the general elections?
No, it wasn't. We were not lethargic in any way. I believe that I'm a member of the National Working Committee. I believe that we looked at the situation on ground, and we had other things that we had to do strategically. At times you have short-term goals, medium-term goals. We have a long-term goal. And we have long-term goals and medium-term goals. And as such, we had a showing, not strong showings, because as I said, we knew what we were doing, we had to do, and not waste energy or do things that were not for the benefit of the party. Because the whole thing we're doing is a holistic thing. You might have an election there, but you look at your main targets in the medium term and long term, and it depends on if they fit into it.
All right, that has been the program. Many thanks to our guest, and of course we wish you the very best, hoping that your prayers, perhaps you get a good showing there. That's Ladipo Johnson of the New Nigerian People's Party. Hopefully we'll get you in some other time as well. That has been Political Updates for today. The next episode is on Friday. Between now and then, please play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority. For your news, reviews, previews, and interviews, it's Africa's finest and largest. Bye-bye now.